Welcome to Home with Justin. Welcome to a garden that feels like a storybook. Imagine stepping through a low picket gate into a sunlit yard where an old wooden cottage sits surrounded by layers of color and scent. Together we will walk the path, learn the garden's logic, and discover simple, repeatable steps to create a landscape like this at home. This video is for anyone who wants a garden that's welcoming, low stress, and full of life. The mood here is gentle and abundant. Notice how beds flow around the house, not in rigid boxes but in soft, inviting shapes. The flowers are varied, bright orange, deep pink, sunny yellow, mixed with airy white filler and rich green leaves. That variety is deliberate. Different heights, textures, and bloom times give the eye something to enjoy every week. When planning your garden, think in layers: a low border, medium-height perennials, and taller plants or climbers near walls or fences. This layered approach creates depth and keeps the garden interesting from close up and from a distance. Start with a simple site survey. Walk your space at different times of day. Where does the sun hit? Which corners stay cool and damp? Which spots have good drainage? The cottage in front of us benefits from dappled light under mature trees and open sunny patches by the fence. Use those conditions to choose plants. Sunny areas are perfect for coneflowers and zinnias. Shadier corners suit ferns and astilbe. Mapping these conditions at the outset saves time. And helps the garden look effortless rather than forced. Soil matters, but it doesn't have to be perfect to begin. Test a few patches with a simple spade. Is the soil heavy clay, loose and sandy, or somewhere in between? Amend as needed with compost to add structure and nutrients. A layer of compost before planting improves water retention in sandy soils and loosens heavy clay. Compost also supports beneficial microbes, which help plants resist pests and disease. Build the soil gradually. Aim for consistent monthly or seasonal additions rather than trying to fix everything at once. Next, choose a planting palette that combines structure with spontaneity. Pick 3 or 4 dominant colors for continuity, maybe warm oranges and reds like the cottage beds, accented with whites and a pop of cool purple. Combine bold-headed flowers like zinnias or rudbeckia with airy fillers like baby's breath or cosmos. Include evergreen or semi-evergreen shrubs to anchor the composition year-round. In the scene before us, rose climbers frame the door and a compact hedge or low shrubs define the boundary, providing a stable backdrop for seasonal color. Design your beds with movement. Curving edges feel natural and encourage exploration. A winding path or a short stepping stone route invites visitors to walk among the plants, notice small details, and connect with the space. Keep sightlines open to a focal point. In this garden, it's the cottage doorway and a little seating area tucked under trees. Position a bench or a single chair where you can sit and watch pollinators and the play of light through the leaves. That small human element turns a pretty plot into a living room outdoors. When planting, think about repetition and rhythm. Repeat a couple of key species in several spots to tie the garden together visually. Scatter the same bright zinnia or daisy at intervals, so the eye leaps from one cluster to the next. At the same time, embrace randomness at the micro level. Allow some plants to self-seed, and leave small gaps for new surprises. This balance between deliberate repetition and happy accidents makes a garden feel cultivated and alive, not contrived. Watering strategy is another practical piece. Young plants need consistent moisture until established. After that, deep, less frequent watering encourages roots to grow down rather than stay near the surface. Use mulch to retain moisture and suppress weeds. A 3 to 4 inch layer of organic mulch around plants reduces evaporation and gradually improves soil as it breaks down. In a cottage-style garden, mulch also softens the base of plants and keeps edges tidy without rigid borders. Encourage biodiversity. Plant flowers that attract pollinators through the growing season. Coneflowers, black-eyed Susans, and single-petal roses feed bees and butterflies, while herbs like lavender and thyme offer scent and function. Mix native plants with chosen ornamentals. Natives provide dependable food and habitat for local insects. Add a small water source or a shallow dish with rocks for birds and beneficial insects. The goal is a self-supporting ecosystem where predators, pollinators, and plants keep each other in check. Maintenance should be manageable. Deadheading spent blooms helps many perennials keep producing, but leaving a few seed heads into late fall benefits birds and insects. Prune lightly to keep shape. Avoid shearing everything into rigid forms. Divide crowded perennials every few years to revitalize them and create new plants for other parts of the garden. A little maintenance each week prevents large, intimidating chores later on and keeps the garden feeling cared for rather than overworked. Create seasonal interest beyond flowers. Bulbs in spring, mid-season perennials, and late-season asters and sedums extend visual interest. In autumn, seed heads and grasses give texture and movement. Winter berries and evergreen shapes maintain structure through colder months. Plan with the full year in mind, so there's always a reason to visit the garden, photograph it, or simply linger with a cup of tea. Composting and on-site recycling close the loop. Collect garden waste, kitchen scraps, no meat, and shredded paper to build nutrient-rich compost. Use this compost in beds and containers to reduce reliance on synthetic fertilizers and improve long-term soil health. A small compost bin fits almost any yard and becomes a steady source of soil-building material. Finally, make the garden about living, about how it supports the people who enjoy it. Add practical elements, a place for tools, a small potting bench, clearly marked pathways for mowing. Personal touches like a brightly painted gate, handmade plant markers, or a simple trellis for climbing roses connect the space to the people who care for it. Invite neighbors in, share plants, and let the garden become a community space. Thank you for walking this cottage garden with Home with Studio. If this style inspires you, try one clear change this week. Sketch a layered plan, add compost to a bed, or plant a handful of pollinator-friendly flowers. Small steps make big changes over time. If you enjoyed this guide and want more seasonal how-tos, planting lists, and design ideas, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so we can keep growing together. See you in the next video, where we'll plant a container garden inspired by this cottage landscape.